This happened to a girl named Alyssa in 2018 in a quiet town in Colorado. It was around noon, and the building was supposed to be empty. Alyssa was a second-year college student, majoring in English literature. Her campus was small, tucked into a quiet corner of Colorado, surrounded by forest and foggy hills. The kind of place where people say, "Nothing ever happens here." That Friday, she stayed behind after class to work on a research paper. The library closed early on Fridays around 2 p.m., so she had about 2 hours to finish what she needed. When she walked in, it was quiet. Only the librarian at the front desk and one older man in the history section. That Friday, she stayed behind after class to work on a research paper. The library closed early on Fridays around 2 p.m., so she had about 2 hours to finish what she needed. When she walked in, it was quiet. Only the librarian at the front desk and one older man in the history section. She figured they had just closed up early. The library had 2 exits, one in the front, one in the back near the archives. Alyssa packed her things and decided to leave through the back. As she passed the rows of bookshelves, she heard something behind her, soft footsteps. She turned around, nothing. She kept walking, another step closer. She spun around, and this time she saw her. A woman, tall, pale, hair hanging flat and wet, looking over her shoulders, standing in the middle of the aisle, just watching. Alyssa forced a smile. "Sorry, I thought everyone had gone," she said. The woman said nothing, no movement, no blink, just stood there. Alyssa stepped back. "Are you okay?" The woman lifted her arm slowly, almost unnaturally, and pointed to the ceiling. Alyssa looked up. There was nothing there. When she looked back down, the woman was gone. Alyssa ran. She didn't stop until she was out of the building and halfway across campus. She told a security guard who checked the security footage. At 1:52 p.m., Alyssa was seen walking through the aisles, but no one else was in the frame, not the woman, not even the librarian. The guard rewound the footage. At 1:35, the librarian was seen walking out the front door, the last person out. The footage showed Alyssa completely alone in the building for 20 full minutes. When she returned a few days later to ask the librarian if anything like that had ever happened before, the woman at the desk didn't look surprised. She simply said, "You saw her too." This happened to a guy named Marcus in 2021 during a solo hike near Blue Ridge, Georgia. It was a bright afternoon, and the trail was supposed to be safe. Marcus was 26 at the time and had been into hiking for a couple years. It helped with his anxiety, he said. That summer, he took a week off work and decided to hike a series of remote trails alone. His plan was to camp at 3 different points along the Blue Ridge foothills. The first day was peaceful, beautiful weather, blue-skied, birds, and not a soul in sight. That changed on the second day. Around 3:30 in the afternoon, Marcus noticed something strange. Every time he turned a corner on the trail, he'd hear a single footstep behind him, just one, always one. He stopped, listened, nothing. When he turned around, no one. He told himself it was probably a squirrel or maybe his imagination. But after another few steps, it happened again. This time he turned quickly and caught a glimpse of someone. A man, tall, wearing black clothes, standing between the trees. But not walking, not approaching, just watching. Marcus called out, "Hey, you okay?" The man didn't respond, just turned and stepped back into the woods. Marcus wasn't panicked. Not yet. He assumed the guy might be a fellow hiker. Maybe weird, maybe shy. He kept walking. But from that point on, every single turn revealed a flash of black between the trees. It got worse when he reached his next camping spot. He set up his tent, lit a fire, and sat down to eat. The trail curved around the camp with trees lining both sides, and behind one of those trees about 20 feet away stood the man. Marcus stood up, shouted, "Do you need help?" The man didn't move. After a few seconds, he simply turned and disappeared into the trees again. Marcus didn't sleep that night, and he didn't camp at the third site. He packed his gear at sunrise and hiked straight back to where he had parked. As he approached his car, something chilled him. His passenger side window was open. Inside, sitting on the seat, was a small, folded piece of paper. No signature, just 2 words. "Nice hike." This happened in 2015 to a woman named Jessica, who worked as a part-time babysitter in a rural town in Illinois. It was 3 p.m. on a clear, warm afternoon. Jessica had been watching 6-year-old Sophie for about a month. The little girl's parents lived in a farmhouse on the edge of town, surrounded by fields and a distant forest line. Jessica liked a job easy hours, quiet environment. On this particular day, Sophie asked to play outside. Jessica brought her to the small playground just a few yards from the house. It had a swing set, a sandbox, and a little wooden playhouse. Everything seemed normal. Jessica sat on a bench and started scrolling through her phone. Sophie was playing in the sandbox, talking to herself like kids do. Then, one of the swings began to move slowly back and forth, back and forth. Jessica didn't think much of it at first. Maybe the wind, but there was no breeze, the trees weren't even moving, and the other swing perfectly still. The moving swing went higher, almost like someone was on it. Jessica stood up. "Sophie, did you push the swing?" Sophie looked up, confused. "No, she did." Jessica frowned. "Who's she?" Sophie pointed behind the swing, but there was no one there, just empty grass. Jessica grabbed Sophie's hand and said it was time to go inside. But before they walked away, the swing abruptly stopped. No slowing down, just frozen. That night, she asked Sophie again what she saw. Sophie said, "It was the same girl I saw last week. She lives in the playhouse. She doesn't like when people don't say hi." Jessica told Sophie's mom everything. She laughed it off. But a week later, Sophie's mom called Jessica in the middle of the night, her voice shaking. "Sophie was talking to someone in the playhouse today. I thought she was pretending until the swing started moving by itself." This happened to a teenager named Emily in 2022 in a quiet neighborhood outside of Portland, Oregon. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon. Her parents were out for the day, and she was finally home alone. Emily was 17 and had been begging her parents to leave her home alone for months. They were overprotective, the type who double-lock every window and check the doors twice before bed. But that day, they went to visit relatives, and Emily got her wish. She spent the afternoon doing exactly what she'd imagined watching TV, with the volume up, texting friends, eating chips for lunch. Around 3 p.m., she went upstairs to grab a blanket and noticed something strange. The window in the guest bedroom was wide open. She didn't remember opening it. Her parents definitely wouldn't have, but she shrugged it off. Maybe it hadn't been locked properly. She closed it, locked it, and went back downstairs. 15 minutes later, her phone buzzed. A message from her friend Chloe. "Is someone home with you? Your upstairs window is open." Emily's stomach dropped. She ran upstairs. The window was open again. This time the lock was broken, as if forced. She called her parents, shaking. Her dad told her to leave the house and wait outside. But Emily, panicking, grabbed a kitchen knife and checked every room. The house was empty. No one hiding, nothing stolen. Just one thing out of place. In the guest bedroom on the nightstand was a piece of paper, folded once with handwriting she didn't recognize. "Thank you for letting me back in." Emily left the house and never slept there alone again. Her parents installed cameras the next day. No footage ever showed anyone entering or leaving. But once a month, that same window unlocks itself.